It is 5 o'clock somewhere, and you've tuned in to Season 4, Episode 2 of BRC. For those of you who'd like to watch this episode, I highly recommend it. You can view Season 4 on our website, YouTube, Spotify, WhiskeyNetwork.net, and Zencaster. I'm your host, Kerry Moynahan. Last spring, I attended the 3rd annual Fog City Social hosted by the San Francisco Whiskey Society. Unfortunately, due to technical issues with our sound card, we were not able to bring you the full coverage of that event. But the good news is, the 4th annual Fog City Social is later this month. So in today's Club Corner, I chat with Marcello Grande of the San Francisco Whiskey Society about what's shaping up to be the club's biggest day of the year. Then later, in this week's Tavern Talk, I catch up with Hinz from Westland Distillery to reflect on last year's Fog City Social. So kick off your shoes, pour yourself a dram, and join me for this episode of Barrel Room Chronicles.
Experience the pinnacle of whiskey and spirits at the EMPH 2025, happening April 23rd to 25 at Wynn Las Vegas. Indulge in rare tastings, engage with master distillers. Secure your tickets now at universalwhiskeyexperience.com. Don't miss this exclusive event for connoisseurs and enthusiasts alike.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is you're catching the show today. Today on the show, I have the pleasure of talking to Marcello Grande, who I spoke with several times last year at the Fog City Social. We went out, we shot a bunch of stuff. It was fantastic, had a great time, met a lot of whiskeys. Unfortunately, the sound equipment failed us terribly. So we are now going to interview Marcello, and I also have some other interviews that are going to come up later in the show. And we will show you what we kind of shot before, but more to the point, I'm going to get you all excited about the Fog City Social this year in April of 2025. Welcome to the show, Marcello. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me, Kerry.
Thanks for being here. Okay, so you are part of the San Francisco Whiskey Society.
I am.
And did you start it? Are you the president? What's your role? Give me all that information.
These are really good questions. Technically, I did help start the San Francisco Whiskey Society, which was an offshoot of San Francisco Whiskey, Bourbon, and Scotch Society due to some unfortunate leadership mishaps and too many letters in the name. We like to say, we're SFW BSS minus the BS. And ultimately, jokes aside, we're the exact same club with the exact same members and the exact same leaders. And so that club started, I believe, in 2017, and I joined in 2018 just as a member, and pretty quickly started participating and providing tasting notes. And I had a program called Whiskey 101 where I was working with brands and other people in the community to just kind of expose our members to things that they might not have tried before or thought about, and really kind of in the spirit of really just wanting everybody to feel comfortable and confident in their ability to talk about whiskey, regardless of where they thought they might be on the spectrum of expert, right? Like, hey, did you just discover whiskey yesterday? What do you taste in your glass? It's okay if you're like, it smells like old shoes. Okay, cool. Let's talk about that.
Wait, I haven't smelled that one. We got to taste that. Okay.
And so, from there, building up Whiskey 101, and eventually it became something called the Quality Pour. I was asked to join our sort of leadership team and take on marketing. One of my key initiatives was to put on a whiskey festival for our members as like the biggest member benefit that we could possibly offer. And so we started doing that by figuring out what we were going to call it, and we named it Fog City Social. And it was really thank you, Roland, who is the president of the club, who said, hey, let's put this thing together. And we did it via volunteer army. We've got incredible members who are so dedicated to the whiskey and spirits community. And we hosted that first event at Wingtip in San Francisco, which was a private club next to the Transamerica building.
Oh no, did it go away?
I think they changed the name of the club, so Wingtip is no longer there, but it's something else.
Okay.
But that first event was kind of like, can we do it? Can we get people to show up? Will people want to pay? And we tried to make it and we still are, as absolutely accessible as possible, because we don't do it for money, right? We put on this event to bring the community together of like real spirits drinkers, real whiskey lovers, and incredible brands, and kind of just like slow things down. And we did, and we had, I think, about 250 people in our first
Well,
year, which really kind
that's
of
not
like
bad.
it filled up that little space. If anyone of
Yeah.
your listeners has been to Wingtip before, 250 people at Wingtip is like, um, and then after that, everyone heard about it and they're like, "Oh my god! Like, can't believe we didn't go, we couldn't make it, or we thought it was going to be terrible." And from there, we've expanded and found venues that allow us to bring more people from the community together.
So, how many different venues have you used? Have you used a different one each year?
We have, out of necessity. So in year one, it was actually at Wingtip. In year two, it was supposed to be at Wingtip, and we were really going to cram it in, but there was a massive power outage in the financial district,
Oh no.
and it forced us to go to Yerba Buena Center for the Arts. So we did that, and we hosted it outside there, up above the waterfall, and it was fun. It was pretty awesome, and gave us more room, but it got cold, and at just the time when people were maybe kind of ready for last call, it started getting cold. So nature helped us to kind of close out.
Kick everybody out.
And then last year, Fog City Social 3, we hosted at Harborview off of Embarcadero, which is a beautiful space overlooking the ferry terminal plaza. And you were there with us.
Yep, it's great space. I loved it.
Yeah, it's a great space, but we outgrew it. We outgrew the
It
space.
was a little tight, but I mean, you had it was a big space. So I'm excited to see the place you're going to get for this year, because if it's going to be bigger, how many whiskey brands do you have coming this year?
It's kind of a trick question. So we had 50 portfolios come last year, right?
Okay.
And so the way I think about a portfolio is essentially um, a portfolio brand would be it could be a distributor, it could be an importer, and each of them is going to have a bevy of different spirits that they're going to bring to the table. So we had probably well over 1,000 different whiskeys
Yeah,
out
that was a lot.
last year. Um, and because we know that our crowd likes to drink more than whiskey, and our brands want to share things that they have in their portfolio, we also had we had rums, we had Armagnac, we had cognac, we had gin, we had vodka, we had baijiu, we had
The,
California
the
brandy.
Baiju is good.
Yeah,
The
we've
Baiju is
got
good.
more baijiu coming this year as well.
Okay.
Um, and we had cocktails and we had mixers, and so we're a really diverse club. And of course, I think 99% of the people in the club enjoy drinking whiskey of all kinds, but they bring friends, they bring their spouses or significant others, and not everybody likes whiskey as much as we do.
Right.
And so it's awesome to be able to kind of walk around and try the other things that are just as good. So
Yeah, that's cool. So, do you think you're going to have 50 portfolios again this year?
I think we will have at least 50 portfolios this year, yes. And we already have a pretty good chunk of brands who have signed up and that are on board. Our new venue has got a lot of room. We could technically have thousands of people there, but we're inviting 800 guests this year. Last year we had about 650, which is why it felt tight,
Yeah, yeah, it
right?
was a little tight. I mean, coming off of COVID, I was like, "Oh, where's my mask?" It was a little tight.
It was raining last year, and so the intention was
Everybody, yeah, it was.
whole outdoor space was going to be full of brands, and
Yeah,
it was like, well, we can't, nobody wants to be sopping wet outside
right,
except for
exactly,
people who enjoyed our cigar lounge,
right.
um, which we'll have again this year.
Which is where you and I spoke for the interview that didn't get
Yeah,
sound.
exactly.
So,
That's okay. We're here today.
yeah, we are. Okay, so how many of the brands that you had last year do you think are coming back for a repeat visit?
I would imagine all of them will be back for a repeat visit. And as you know, it's a challenging time for brands, right? It's a time where brands really need to evaluate how and where they're spending their money. And one of the things that I truly believe in my heart that we are creating with Fog City Social is a space where brands really understand that this is a place where they can connect with their real consumers, where they have a pretty significant share of wallet, and that those brands that are returning are coming back because they saw the value. And we do something that is not very common at spirits festivals, which is we allow brands to actually sell alcohol. Now, they don't actually pass a bottle over
Right.
to us, but we use QR codes through our retail partner network and allow them to choose what they want to sell at the event. Sometimes it's allocations, sometimes it's whatever they choose, right? And so you get exposed to something really interesting. You might not know where to find it. You can scan the QR code as a guest, and you can immediately pop that bottle into your shopping cart, pay for it, and then have it either shipped to you or go pick it up if you live locally, sometime in the next week, which is
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Brands really like that.
And is it all coming from one shop in San Francisco, or is there other places that they're sending it from?
It's wholly dependent on the individual brand portfolio and how they want to manage it. So we work with a retail partner, and we always pick one. We try to support like all parts of the tiered system, right? We're really close with bars. We're close with liquor stores and distributors, and of course directly with brands. And then a lot of our portfolio brands have their own distribution channels, and so they'll want to run it through that. But either way, works out the same. And we try to encourage something like 10% below retail on all bottles sold at Fog City Social. And we don't take any proceeds for that. That's all just, hey, look, you're here to connect with people. If they love what you're doing, like, give them access.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, so for this year, what is the price for a ticket?
So the price per ticket is about the same as it's been. I think it's $135 for San Francisco Whiskey Society members. And then I believe it's $145 for all other whiskey clubs on the West Coast, right? Or
Okay.
the West, right? So that's one of the things we've done this year. We've invited whiskey clubs from the West Coast to attend, and we've given all of them a code to attend. So they can come hang out. We're all part of the same community, and $10 from their ticket gets donated back to their club or to a charity of their choice, which we think is pretty cool. And then general admission tickets, I believe they're 155 or 165. So if you want to bring grandma, that's awesome. We want to meet her. And anybody who's a member of a club is allowed to bring one non-member with the member price. So we try to make it as easy as possible. And it's a pretty sick value because first of all, for your listeners, we don't do this for profit. We do this just to put on the event, and it's super expensive. Right? It's fully catered with a Michelin Bib Gourmand and James Beard award-winning restaurant.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful space. We have security. It's private. But every ticket comes with a tote bag, as you would expect at a legit festival, a tasting glass, usually some other cool things in the bag, and yes, our festival bottle, something something that is worth more than the ticket. So yeah, this was last year's festival.
We lined up for this bad boy last year. It was
Yes,
big. Let's see, little Fog City Social.
every single ticket includes a festival bottle.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a
so yeah,
2022 edition. I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to let you say that.
it's
How is
a
it?
Sanuki.
Sanuki
Yeah,
Japanese
Japanese
whiskey. Really
legit
good.
whiskey. That bottle retails for $200 plus.
Yeah.
That's the retail price, and so everybody gets a bottle of festival bottle with their ticket. And this year we have another stunning festival bottle.
Can you tell us what it is?
I cannot. This festival bottle is always a super secret until we usually reveal it like 2-3 days before the event, because we don't want people to just buy a ticket to come get the bottle, which is what some people do. They'll just buy a ticket, like they'll find out a couple days before and they'll be like, oh, I'll buy the ticket because it's like $50 less than buying the
Right,
bottle.
the bottle, right? Yeah. Do you have this bottle with you still, or is yours gone?
I actually, fun fact, I buy my own ticket to the event, even though I'm the host of the event. I support the community, and I bought a ticket for myself, a ticket for my wife, and a ticket for my brother. And so I got 3 bottles, and I killed
Nice.
one of them, and I've got
Nice.
2 left.
So same. I had the 2 tickets for me and my brother-in-law, and so I got one. He got one, and he's not a whiskey guy, but he hadn't opened his because we only drank out of mine. And his uncle is a big whiskey guy, and so every time his uncle comes out, like "Hey, Kerry, Jimmy's here. You guys can go drink your whiskey." And so we sent him the bottle and for Christmas, and he was over the moon. So
It is a really, I mean, you opened yours. It's a very approachable and beautiful whiskey. It's I think it's really easy for people who might be a bit afraid of like, stronger proof whiskeys. It's got beautiful wine cask finish, and it's lovely.
and it's a little bit peated. And then we also got these really cute Fog City Social glasses, which I really love. So I was gonna partake and have some of this with you if you have yours nearby. I don't know if you do.
Unfortunately, I don't. But I mean, I do have whiskey. I think we could have a pour together.
Let's
Uh,
do. Let's have a pour together.
okay, all right. I've got one of my personal favorites that I just opened recently on my desk in my office.
Okay, what's that?
So I just picked this up. It was a pre-order from
Oh my
K&L.
God, look at that. It's a funny label.
Redacted Bros. And this is a 1996 Ben Nevis cast strength refill sherry cask. I'm a big collector of Ben Nevis.
Can you pour me some? Here's my glass. Just pour it right there.
We'll have to have you come by for a little tasting. We do tastings periodically, where at least I do thematic tastings.
Yeah. I've actually, many of my audience knows for season 2, I went to Ireland. So we were doing tastings, with all the Irish brands here in LA and showing the episodes. Okay. So last year I talked to people from New Riff, Bardstown Bourbon Company,
Mm-hmm.
Ming River, which was that the Baijiu, the Ming River? That
Bang
was
River
really good. They
Wise.
give us these cute little cups, which at the moment I
Oh, they're
don't
even
know my
smaller.
name.
They're like these little
Yeah,
beautiful
it's like a
mini.
thimble with a little stem. It's adorable. Um, my best buds, Clonakilty, Westland, which we'll talk with them later in the episode. Glendronach, got to talk to my buddy Rory from San Francisco. Love him. It's always good to see him. And then Frey Ranch, which is also a friend of the show, been on the show several times and about to be on the show again, and a few others. Oh, and of course, one of my favorites, 10th Street. 10th
Yeah.
Street out of San Jose. San Jose is where I was born and raised. So when I found out that they had a distillery on 10th Street, which is now on 4th Street, I love it. So that's who I kind of talked to in general. There was many more.
There were many, many more. So
Many,
many.
many more brands. So tell me so last year you got to see all the brands, you worked with all the brands. Who was your favorite brand to work with and who was your favorite brand to taste?
Oh my God, that is such a horrible question to ask me.
Isn't it?
Okay, so
Isn't it?
one of the things I get poked for a bit is that I have a really broad, diverse whiskey palate. I truly do. I love a lot of whiskeys. You see, I'm a Ben Nevis collector and fan, but I drink bourbon. I've got a Michter's 20 on my cabinet over here that I was drinking for my birthday recently. Um, I like peat. I like sherry casts. I like this stuff. I love the stuff that Mark Oksavich does at Charbet. I I love California brandy. So in terms of who are my favorites last year, all the brands are my favorites, and I say that through a political lens. In that,
Right.
I, first of all, I really do like most of the whiskey that I try, and I kind of grade it on the scale of, is it good or is it bad whiskey? I want to understand what about this particular whiskey um, makes it unique and makes it good. Um, we're all part of the same community, and just the fact that brands are coming out and working really hard to kind of like get their product from an idea to a glass, especially for the new brands that we invite, because we have a program for new younger brands. We want them to be able to display. But in terms of my personal favorites, things that I tried last year that I remember right now, um, I drank some Duff that was really great for those of you out there who have had the opportunity to try Duff. Um, it is, I think it's fantastic. It's not something that's easily obtainable, and I was surprised to even see it at our event, and I was really psyched about that. I think we had a 12-year-old Duff. It's a beautiful Scotch. I had I want to say I had a glass of Old Pulteney.
I had that Old Pulteney. It was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, the Old Pulteney was really great. I was introduced to from one of the brands who was there, Pocono, which is
Yes.
a New
New
Zealand single
Zealand.
malt
Yes.
whiskey. And I'm probably going to get this slightly incorrect, but there's an influence of um, Manuka wood
Mhm.
on the Pocono, and I just found it to be fantastic. It's hot in New Zealand. I was told that there are some sort of parallels in terms of how aging works with Taiwanese whiskey, like Avalon. But I think the influence of Manuka, which is Manuka honey, this the same kind of wood, really added a floral sweetness and bouquet to this whiskey that was
Yeah.
about 4 years old, but tasted like it was somewhere around 8 to 10 years old. It was really lovely. I went out and bought a couple of bottles. Um,
Did you use the scanner, the little QR code?
I did.
Oh, good.
Yes,
Good, good.
I did. Um, yeah, and then I have like a couple of geeky favorites that were there. I'm a big fan of California brandy as well, and so it was sort of like the idea that Argonaut and Jermaine Robin were there is something that's just personally special to me. And they brought a couple of older dusty, impossible to find bottles that they made available for sale, which I thought was super awesome. Um, and not, at regular retail prices from like 10 years ago, which is incredible.
That's really cool.
Compass Box was there. They're phenomenal. And then something we did last year, Kerry, that we've never done before that was really cool was we brought out our San Francisco Whiskey Society barrel picks.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
brought about 20 different bottles from the archives. And so I spent a good hour and a half just pouring with Jamie from our leadership team. And people were like, "Oh my God, I've seen pictures of that. That was before my time." Or, "Oh, I never got to try that." Or, "I didn't buy that one. I didn't think it was going to be good. I'm such a dummy. Like, I should have
Yeah,
got
yeah,
it."
yeah.
So that was super cool because it was great to just kind of engage in dialogue and pretend to be a brand ambassador for a bit. So I like that.
That's fun. So this year, what, if anything, is going to be different or more exciting besides the fact that you've invited these other clubs to come in?
Sure. Well, this year we're adding a little more time. All right. So we're giving people just a little more time. For those of your listeners and folks in your club who were there last year, we had some challenges with registration. We have an entirely new registration system. We want to get people in quickly. And
Great.
so that should be pretty easy. We've just got much more space and we've got much more food, and I think we're going to have many more brands, and we're working really hard to bring some big names in bourbon to the table this year. And we've got some surprises up our sleeves. But we've heard from members that, hey, look, like we want more bourbon. We know that we have kind of some big American whiskey fans. They want more of the big name rise. And I would say that if you come to Fog City Social 2025, you're probably going to be pretty excited if that's your jam.
Okay.
So
What
yeah,
about the newly minted American single malt? Are you guys going to have any American single malts there
oh
to
my God,
celebrate the fact that we have a new category
we've
officially?
we've been ahead of the curve on the American single malt category. I mean, we did club picks of American single malt. We've got, yes, absolutely yes. I think you're going to see lots of American single malt. I think you're going to see some really interesting single malts that are also not just from Scotland that are going to be on the table that
Great.
aren't just American. You're going to see some really interesting finishes. You're going to see some really interesting long-term aging. You're going to see whiskeys from all over the world. You're going to see whiskeys from Taiwan, from Japan, from New Zealand, from Taiwan. Actually, we've got something very interesting coming. It's the only thing like it in the outside of Taiwan. It's the first time it's coming to the United States, and they're premiering at Fog City Social. I'm extremely excited about this brand. It's unique. I've never even heard of this, but it sounds incredible.
Okay.
And all I can say is it has a direct connection to agriculture and to tea.
Oh,
and it's
interesting.
something that's been around for a long time, but we're just not exposed to it. So I'm psyched about that. We have whiskey coming from Israel. We have whiskey coming from everywhere, and we have people coming along with the whiskey to come join us at Fog City Socials. It's not just
That's fantastic.
whiskey coming; it's people. We get brand ambassadors, we get distillers, we get blenders. Um, I think the most incredible thing about Fog City Social, truly, and it's the reason why we do it, is that it's an opportunity to go to a place where there's no such thing as VIP. There's no
No,
VIP
no,
ticket.
everybody's VIP.
Everybody's
Everybody's
VIP.
VIP.
Yeah. There's no
And
VIP hour. There's
and
no free
you
whiskey.
feel like you're a VIP. I mean,
Yeah.
I felt like walking in, I felt like a VIP, and not just because I was walking around with camera. I felt like I was VIP because that's the way everybody was being treated, and I loved it. It was great.
Everything that's there is for everybody. So you spent time with Bacta. They were breaking out their 1928
Yeah.
Armagnacs for everybody, right?
Yep.
Like the whiskeys that we had, the scotches that we tried, the stuff that was old and dusty and musty, and the stuff that was just being released. It's one of the things that we ask brands to carefully consider as part of coming to Fog City Social. Say, listen, we understand that as part of business, you need to sell those bottles that we call shelfies, as the as the taters in town, the bottles that we know are going to be at Bevmo and Total Wine, and that's cool. Like, we want exposure for you, and
Right.
people can buy them. But we also want to remind you that you've got a very unique audience here that buys your whiskey. They probably already have all that, so give them something special.
Right.
And we ask them to tell us in advance what they think they might be able to bring, right? Just to kind of at least one or two commitments to say, hey, what can you commit to that will be special? We don't tell anybody it's coming. It's really just more as part of that dialogue to say, like, hey, this isn't the other festivals. Like, this is very special. And I'm happy to say that we have actually told brands, hey, look, like, if that's not something you're comfortable with, I don't think we can have you at this year's event because we're full, and it's not that kind of thing. But hopefully this year, what we're going to see is we're going to see brands who know, yeah, Fog City Social's been good for us as a brand. It's exposed us to a lot of people. We've got more people coming. Yeah, I'm truly excited. And the space is like, you're not gonna be rubbing shoulder to shoulder with people. You're gonna have plenty of room to just kind of like chill out and move about. I don't know how big it is, but I think it's 75,000 square feet
Wow.
on the floor. So just
Okay.
last year, I want to say that we were at like 18,000 square feet. So it's
Okay.
massive. Yeah, and it's got like a beautiful glass skylight and windows. It's a historic monument, right? It's registered with the National Historic Site. The post office that people enter in is this gorgeous Art Deco space that's been totally muraled.
Wow.
That's fun.
And how close is it to the place you had last year?
It's like 2 blocks away. It's
Oh,
one.
great.
It's right off Embarcadero. We've got deals with hotels. You can take the ferry in. You can take BART in. You can Uber in. You can have someone drop you off. And if you live down the street, good for you. You can walk, right? So
Great. Well, good. Then I could probably get the same hotel I got last year. That'd be fantastic.
yeah, you,
Um,
you probably can.
all right. So let's talk about last year's bottle real quick.
Okay.
Um, how did you guys come across? I mean, how did you pick this one, and how did people offer, say, hey, I want to be your bottle, or did you guys go after specific things, and were you specifically wanting to go with Japanese or with peated, or tell me about that? What goes
Yeah,
into picking
so
that?
I'll tell you as much as I can because really Roland is responsible for our picks every year. He's a fantastic leader of the club and an amazing member of the community, and he's an industry insider too, right? We do get approached by brands every year that want to be the festival bottle, which is fantastic, and we try to always say yes, right, one way or another. Like, we want to support the brands. We were approached by by the distributor, and they said, hey, we have something really special that we think that you would like, and so they talked to us about it, and we tried it, and we were like, wow. this is amazing, but we can't afford it. You do realize that our tickets are only, $135, right? Like it's just barely enough to like, cover the cost of this thing. And they sponsored the bottles, and we have a budget for what it costs per ticket price to kind of pay for the cost of these bottles. And the brands have always been really generous with us and in giving us bottles at their cost.
That's great.
So that's not wholesale, right? It's like, hey, this is what it costs us to produce. We're sponsoring the event. We're giving back to the community. But for anybody who's into the brand, who knows, Sanuki, who's familiar with that aging process and Mars, like it's kind of unheard of. So when I found out that they were going to sponsor us, and this was what we were getting, it was kind of a head scratcher for me. I was like, seriously? Like, okay, that's like, Japanese Pappy Van Winkle. Like, come on.
Well, I'm going to try it right now because I haven't had it since last year when we were, and it's got some good legs on it too, by the way.
It really does.
And it's got a light peat on the nose. All right. And then you tell me what you're drinking and what you're tasting and smelling over there.
Yeah. So this is the 1996 Ben Nevis. It's in a refill sherry.
See, that's nice. It's not, as most people know, I'm not a big peat lover. So if it's got peat, I like it just be a kiss of peat. And this is just a nice kiss of peat. It's not like a peat bomb, which is great. And it's really nice. It's a great color. So tell me about your Ben Nevis after you stop chewing it, because I'm interested in, maybe you should bring a sample of that when I see you in April for me to try.
That sounds like a good deal. I would be happy to. Well, the 90s for Ben Nevis for me are like kind of a sweet spot. I don't know why. They just taste a little different. I found this out by accident. Picking up, a bottle of Ben Nevis from the 90s. It's not easy to get in the US. And I was like, wow, this stuff is really unique. I would say the closest whiskey to it for my palate is like a Glenrothes,
Okay.
and a Springbank. Now they're not the same by any means, but they possess some of this. They possess similar qualities where there's a little salinity. There's warmth, especially with Springbanks that may have been cask aged or finished, especially their wine and sherry casks. Glenrothes is the same, right? They do some sherry cask aging, but they're not sherry bombs. There's an oiliness to them, and there are these terpenes that come out that have sort of a funk that is just a touch. I would equate it to like tars and oils, tires, and it's not overpowering. It can be, but it's not overpowering. But it's there.
Tires? I don't want to drink tires.
There's
is it
like
a smoky one? Is there smoke on that?
No, there's no peat here.
No,
There's
tires.
smoke, but you get the rubber, you get sort of some of those minerals, and it balances the sweetness so that it doesn't attack you, and it's really rich and it's luscious, and yeah, I'm just really into it.
I think you should be a whiskey writer if you're not already, because you can give some severe notes. I need help with my notes.
I used to do these really elaborate notes, and then I saw a meme one time that I thought was hysterical. It's like in the beginning when you first start, with whiskey, it's like it's smooth, and everything tastes, everything is vanilla and caramel, and then you become romantic about it. You're like, oh, I taste this, I taste the honeysuckle, I taste the night air, and then later you're just like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, exactly. When I first started on my whiskey journey, I had a whiskey book, and then I would write down stuff. But then I noticed, first of all, I have terrible handwriting, but as the night would go on, my handwriting would get worse. So when I went back to read it, I was like, okay, 3 tastes in, I don't know what I'm saying here. So then I got an app, and then I was like, all right, so then I'm typing in all the stuff and clicking all the things. And then after a while, I was like, this is too much effort. I just want to enjoy drinking it. And just remember, I can make a note. I liked it. I didn't like it. I liked it. I didn't like it. That's it.
Well, I don't write about all the whiskey I drink, but for the ones that I'm either really excited about or that I think I might want to think more about later, I have a little book, and it kind of does some of the work for me because it has charts and stuff. It's a tasting.
Right.
And my rule is I will always revisit a whiskey 3 times before I kind of like make my mind up about it. And so I'll put the notes in when it's a fresh crack. And usually those fresh cracks, that's where you get all those like really like intense polarizing flavors that can come out of a bottle, whether you love it or hate it at the beginning. And then maybe 2 weeks later, it's like a completely different animal. And then a few months later, the same. And so that's usually how I do. And I'll take notes and I'll say, am I still tasting that? Like, am I still like, do I still like it?
Yeah.
Like, what was I thinking? And usually if like across the 3 tastings, I'm still like feeling it. I'm like, okay, great. Like circle that one. And if it's still available, if I only bought one, it's like, maybe I should go get it.
Go back another one. So when I was at Bardstown Bourbons Festival this year, I got this great book by the Forbidden folks. Love Forbidden, female run and all that. And it's got a great taste chart, nose chart, but then it's got all the fun stuff, but then on top of that, and this is what makes it really different, it has a page with a sleeve so you can put a label. So if it's your bottle, you can peel the label off and stick it in here. So which to me is great, because sometimes I'll go back and go, I really liked it. Which one was it? Was it the one with the and then you or you can't remember what it's called, but you remember what the label looked like, and then so I love it.
I do the same. I try to peel the labels off, especially on the special bottles, mementos and such. I found a cigar when I was younger. I used to smoke more cigars, and I had a little cigar tasting book, and I went back into it recently over the holidays. Because I had purchased some cigars to smoke with a friend, and I was like, oh, I've got that book. I wonder if there was anything in there that I loved. And I found a few things, and sure enough, like they don't exist anymore because I'm old. But still, the memory of looking at like my notes and the little cigar bands and I did some drawings. That's always fun.
Yeah, I've been keeping all my empty bottles, and it's getting a little out of hand.
Oh.
I decorated the kitchen on the top of the cabinets. I put all these bottles, and it's funny because I've done some shooting here, and like I did a sizzle reel here for something, and we had to come back later and do a pickup, and I was like, oh no, I've added like 20 bottles. Hold on, I gotta go take down. Which ones did I? So I had that, and then I have a glass cabinet. And that's getting filled. And I was like, I just need to take the labels off. And now that I have this, I was like, I just need to take the labels off because I'm keeping the bottles. I mean, there's a couple of bottles that I really like the actual bottle, but most of it's like, oh, I really enjoyed this, or I really enjoyed the people that I interviewed, and I just want to remember, that's what it looks like. So I think I'm going to start. And I actually, before I was into whiskey, I was into wine, and I had gotten this like label remover, like through the wine enthusiasts store or something. So it was like this. Yeah, it was like you like stick it on, and then you rub on it, and then it just peels off.
Okay, I've got to look that up.
I know. I got to see if I think I still have it in my bar downstairs, and I just don't know how many sheets I have left. So I got to see if I can find more, because I've got to start recycling a little bit more of the bottles. Okay, so I'm really excited about this year's show. I'm going to call it a show because it's fun and exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of the repeats, but also some of the new people. Marcello, thank you so much for taking your time out and telling us about Fog City Social and your whiskey club. I think what you guys are doing up there is fantastic, and if I still lived in the Bay Area, I would be at every event you do. So
thank you so much, Kerry. Yeah, I can't wait to see you again at Fog City Social.
It's going to be fun. Don't touch that device. We'll be right back with Tavern Talk.
We are delighted to extend a special invitation to our listeners to join the fun at Fog City Social 4, taking place on Saturday, April 26th, 2025, at the historic Rincon Center in San Francisco, California. At Fog City Social, every guest is treated like a VIP. Celebrate whiskey culture in a welcoming, diverse, and vibrant environment. Bring fellow enthusiasts, partners, and friends to share in the experience. Fog City Social goes beyond whiskey. While whiskey remains the focus, FCS features a variety of exceptional spirits brands, ensuring there's something for everyone. Every ticket includes a one-of-a-kind festival bottle and access to exclusive bottles for sale during the event. Experience the difference. Unlike traditional festivals, Fog City Social offers a curated, intimate atmosphere where genuine connections and memorable moments flourish. Come celebrate your passion and connect with whiskey lovers from across the country. Scan the QR code on your screen and enter FCS25 BRCF at the checkout for discount pricing.
Well, Anna Hinz, it is so nice to see you again. Thank you so much for joining the call today. How are you?
Great. Thank you. It's a delight to see you again.
So we tried something while I was there. So you want to talk to me a little bit about that and tell our viewers and audience what it's all about?
I would love to. So we tried Calere 4, which is part of our Outpost range. It is a really fun area that we like to explore. Calere is all about barley varietals. So each edition is new. And so this one is looking at Fritz, which is AKA NZ151 is the barley.
So technical.
Yes. And it's one that was bred by the Washington State University and Bread Lab up in Skagit Valley and was grown up there as well and malted. So it's very hyper-local for us. And this one has a lot of reused casks as well. So we really wanted to let the barley sing and come forward. That's something we like to do with Calere. So it's really fun. It has a lot of great notes of pear skin, dried apricot, some light brown sugar, croissant, fresh tangerine, and the palate, apple turnover, some dried fruit mix, cocoa butter, jasmine green tea. And those kind of notes are something that come through a lot on these Calere editions.
I must say it was a very delicious dram when I tried it up in San Francisco. I thought, wow, this is going to be, I think it's going to sell out. It's really, really good. And I appreciate you taking the time to come and talk to us today. So are you guys, I know you're nationwide, but are you in every single state or is there a couple that still doesn't have it?
There are a couple states that don't have it due to state rules. Each state is sort of like a country. And so it does make it a bit of a challenge, but we are in many, many states. And of course, you can see all of that on our website as well. It'll see where things are available.
Great. And then what other things did you have out at San Francisco that you were letting people taste?
Yeah, in Fog City, we had our flagship product, which features our 5 malt bill and, a lot of new oak. So that is something that is a classic, has really our house style, which can be used in cocktails as well as neat. It's fantastic. And then we had Solum 2, Edition 2, which is the focus on our Washington State peat, which is really exciting. That one is really fun because, not many people are doing American peat. It's starting to pick up.
Yeah.
It's something that we had been working on for a long time and sort of pioneered. And it has really unique flavors of these sort of almost herbal, vegetal notes to it. But I was describing it to people as sort of like walking through a wet forest, very Pacific Northwest. The smoke is light, but it has these very earthy tones to it, which is very classic of the peat that's here. Different vegetation means different flavors. So you're not going to get iodine in it.
Where do you guys get your peat from?
It's from Shelton, Washington, which is just a couple hours south of the distillery. And it's spring fed. So when things are harvested, we don't get the nice rectangular squares of peat that you get in Scotland. It's not how it's done. But yeah, the vegetation is fun because we do have sphagnum moss, which you will see, of course, everywhere in Scotland. There are 11 different types in Washington State, but we also have cedar trees, cranberry bog, Labrador tea, horsetail. Like there's different types of vegetation, and all of that really impacts the flavor.
That's really cool. Well, Anna, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us and recap what we talked about and drank up in San Francisco. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for being on the show.
You're most welcome.
That does it for today's show. To read notes on this episode or learn more about our guests, please visit barrelroomchronicles.com. Want to interact with the show or have questions for our guests? Then ask them on our socials or send us an email. Or better yet, leave us a voicemail on our website. If you like what you heard, please rate and subscribe to the podcast. If you really liked it and you want to show your support, buy us a whiskey through our Ko-fi site at ko-fi.com/BRC or become an exclusive member of the Barrel Room Parlor. If you work in the whiskey or spirits industry or just have a deep passion for whiskey and want to share your spirits journey, register to be a guest through our website. Last but not least, please enjoy your spirits responsibly. Thanks for joining me. Until next time, Solangeva.
Barrel Room Chronicles is a production of First Reel Entertainment and is available on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.